and welcome to 3Q The Artist, the podcast designed to go beyond the typical artist interview by asking 3 questions in just 15 minutes. Tonight, I am joined with the incredible Beauty School Dropout. How's it going, guys?
So good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves individually?
Yes, sir.
I'm Beepus.
I'm Coley.
I'm Bardo.
And we are
Love it.
Beauty School Dropout.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you did that. I envisioned that in my head before the podcast.
Let's have our manager send you the invoice for that. And then
Works for me. Just send it over. All right. Well, with that, are you guys ready to jump into question 1?
Absolutely.
do it.
I've heard many artists say, I am my music and my music is me. So what does that statement mean to each of you individually and then as a whole?
I don't know if I've ever once said that, but I feel that.
I
feel that.
I feel like kind of that. I feel like music stamps time periods of who I was.
Okay.
And I don't think that by the time music actually comes out, I don't necessarily, some songs are different, but like, I always feel like they stamp time periods. They're like tattoos, but on your life.
like when Beepus was working as an assassin,
Yeah.
an assassin came out, but you're not working as an assassin anymore.
No, that was about a year ago.
Yeah, he stopped.
Yeah.
They didn't have a good pension plan.
Yeah. But I do resonate with that. But I just think it like is like more like time period me's.
It's a self-reflection. It's funny because like we're also songwriters and producers for a vast array of artists, and so I think we have this open-mindedness even to like taking songs from the outside. But I think the one through line is aside from us touching the production after the fact, like I'm pretty stingy about the lyricism being from a place of realness and like having our narrative attached to it.
Our songs like the Be Real app, but just in song form.
Yeah.
It's
Incredible.
You real, dog.
And then I have to know, before we jump into question 2, what was it like opening up for Matchbox 20 and Blink 182? That must have just been like incredible.
No, it sucks.
Yeah. It was super amazing. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's fucking awesome.
It was the coolest moments of our lives.
Yeah.
For sure, up to this point, I would say.
It's crazy.
I was going to say, do you guys have like a post-show? I know a lot of people talk about pre-show rituals, but do you have like a post-show ritual that all 3 of you need to do together, like before you close out the night?
Not that we can talk about.
We kind of just like knuckle bump. It was a good show. We're like, that was a good show. And we're all stoked. And then we just clear the stage because we don't have a crew. So we just
Usually the first thing we do is go talk to fans though.
That is the
Mhm.
we are very insistent about after we get off stage going out into the crowd, if it's an opening slot or if it's a headline show, going out to the merch booth and meeting everyone, because that's why we do this.
How would you say your relationship with your fans has developed over the years, and like how do you maintain that?
I feel like it's just gotten even more in depth as we're growing because we have bigger opportunities to connect with people and a bigger fan base. And
They're getting too comfortable. They bully me a lot.
They do
they
bully.
bully Raster.
They bully me a lot.
Yeah, but
I can take it.
But it's
All right.
I think we have some of the coolest fans in the world just because of how committed they are and how they have so much insight. They like talk to each other and then funnel us information about like what they're looking for and stuff, and we listen. And I think it's a very symbiotic relationship.
Do you remember what it was like with your first like 100 fans, how that feeling was initially?
Yeah, like 80% of them were Brazilian kids because we were running ads and that was the cheapest place to run ads. So I started learning Portuguese on Duolingo.
Oh my gosh, that's so
It's
funny.
really funny.
But it was fun though. I think any community is key. You know, that was even back then, it was really, really fun for us to just foster that community of kids that we were going live with. And we had like 80 kids in our live and we just would talk to them and then they'd talk to us and it
We're like,
was
come to
fun.
Brazil.
We're like, we can't. There's
COVID.
a pandemic. There's no flights.
Yeah, that's true. You guys had to kind of mix that in with the COVID scene. How has that kind of developed everything that you've done, since that was a majority of like a lot of the work that you put in on social media?
It was a blessing that it happened because it allowed us to dive into who we are, and we're still figuring it out, but I think it expedited that process because
It's probably the only time in our life the government will be paying us to do what we do.
yeah. And yeah, it was that. And then I think we got to plan a little bit better of how the world was going to see us in the flesh. And so our
Mhm.
first shows were insane because we set up for that versus if we would have played the first show that was supposed to be our first show, it would have been a disaster. And I'm so glad that it got canceled. Thanks, COVID.
Thank you. Yeah,
Hey, everything happens for a reason.
for real.
All right. Question 2. Every industry has its dirty little secrets. They can be both positive and negative. What's one secret you would like to share about the music industry?
I think one dirty little secret that a lot of artists don't really know about the music business is that it is indeed business.
That's
Mhm.
actually a good point.
That's a good point.
It is a music business. Yeah.
Do you remember like what that initial point was that you kind of realized that?
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't do anything that would have been our biggest rev drivers. So we were like, well, fuck, do we do this? And we're like, okay, well, I guess we got to structure it like a business. And we
Mm.
started looking at things like a tech startup.
What advice would you give to artists that are just starting out now and it's not really COVID, but you still need to operate in the same way? How do you
Run.
get started?
Run. Just don't do
Quit clear ahead.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or run head first.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
or
Like,
close your eyes
uh,
and just keep
I
running.
No, it's a
Commit 100%. Like,
Yeah. You
and
can't have a backup plan. You kind of just gotta. It will all work out. Like something is always gonna happen.
I think it's
Mhm.
a lot of persistency. It's about chasing longevity and not moments.
Persistency.
yeah, persistency is
Consistency,
persistent and consistency together.
Contingency,
Persistency.
contingency. It's a lot of growth, you know. No, well, I will say one thing is that back to that dirty little secret of ours, the business. Learn your business.
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, you're a
Mhm.
CEO. Like
You got the music down. I have no doubt in that. Cheryl.
right.
No, the business side. Let's work that
Mhm.
out a little bit.
I think it's also the most exciting part
Yeah.
in a lot of ways too.
Definitely.
It's like, what else can we do that's not just music?
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm sure that you guys have learned so much about like merch and touring and all that great stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, final question. So today you guys are all in your 20s. Now imagine that you're entering your 70s and you're being interviewed for a retrospective on your life and your career in general, what it's looked like, what you've done. What would you hope to be able to say about each?
Oh, that we were the biggest band in the world. Like just like factually.
We will be saying that.
That's
We will be saying that. I mean,
I hope I look like Mick Jagger.
remember 29.
And I honestly hope that we're still performing on like dead serious. I like hope that we are like the Rolling Stones in the sense that like they're still playing shows in their
It's not as crusty.
Yeah.
We will definitely be crusty. We'll just have way more tattoos.
Less crust.
In hindsight, what? Yeah, pretty much just laughing about all the success that we had.
And that we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I hope that we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really, that's the only point to any of this shit. We could die tomorrow. It'd suck to not have fun.
We have reached the end of the interview. Before we head out, is there anything that you guys want to say to any of your fans?
Hope you're enjoying the album.
Happy New Year.
That was a fun tour. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Buy tickets for the next tour that we're doing, whenever
Yeah.
that is.
Hey,
All
I
right,
just would like to
guys.
say thank you for dealing with us.
Hey, I've dealt with worse.
That is our metric.
Love
Oh,
that. I
man.
love
As long as we're not the worst.
No, you guys are great. Thanks so much for taking the time to join the podcast. It was super fun.
Thanks
Hell
for
yeah,
having us.
thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Stay tuned for next week's episode of 3Q the Artist, the podcast that goes beyond the typical artist interview by asking 3 questions in just 15 minutes. See you then.